Hello. Hi, everyone. It's Retro Nerd Girl, and I'm broadcasting live from the International Science Fiction Space Station. And we have week 16 here for you of the Gargoyles, in which Mamabeardoll and I are going through each episode and really diving deep, and it's really, 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 really awesome. So, we have a small group with us today. We got Maria Kelly in the house. Hi, Maria Kelly. I hope you're doing well. And Mamabeardoll is here. Hello. Woohoo! We got the party going on. And we're gonna I think I should probably dive right into it. And Maria says, hello, Retro Nerd Girl. Hello to you. Yes, so great to see you. So yeah, let's get right into it, because I think this one is pretty juicy. And I'll see you in 5, 4, 3, 2. Okay, so we're back with another amazing episodes here from Gargoyles. So we are starting with such an awesome episode after last week's grouping of episodes from Avalon, The Gathering. That was so amazing. I was like, oh gosh, everything else is going to probably pale in comparison. I was just like, it's not going to be as good. There's no way they can top that. And they don't top it in these. I would say that for sure. But they do keep up the pace, right? Yeah. They do keep up the pace. And it seems there is a rhythm to things, but it doesn't feel formulaic because they kind of switch things up a bit, which I do like. The first one up is season 2, episode 46, Vendettas. And this one starts off with a previously on going through Wolf's highlights, and it also talks about, it's just mostly Wolf's highlights, right?
Yeah,
like his highlight reel, and just him, from his original state to becoming a mutate, and now in the present day at Weyburn, Scotland, Wolf attacks a police car and steals it, and then laughs maniacally. And then there's an axe right next to him that also seems to be laughing or glowing. So there's 2 laughs going on, and it's like, wow, what's going on here?
2 laughs, same voice.
And it's very clear to me, if we remember the voice acting of Clancy Brown, it's Hakan, the Viking, who we met 1,000 years ago, pretty much. And
and you did point out way back that it's the same voice actor for both Wolf and Hakan.
Yeah. And so I love the fact they did the same thing with
Catherine Mulgrew.
Yes, thank you. And her 2 characters, where they kind of they blend them together, and I was like, wow, that's really fantastic that they thought ahead like that. Same issue here, and this was wonderful. So in many ways, you think maybe they had to know the end to start writing the beginning, or did this like naturally kind of come about? What are your theories on that?
I'm 50-50 on this one. It's hard to pinpoint whether this was originally planned out, or they thought it would be a good tie-in along the way. Part of me thinks it was decided later.
Yeah,
but I don't know.
Yeah, it's such a wild thing with these 2 characters. I'm like, yeah, they go together like peanut butter and jelly, They just do. It's just kind of wild. This was very interesting that we get this forward to Manhattan, and we're not told how long this took, but we also see the Twin Towers there too, which is very interesting. This was done in the 90s, and of course the towers went down in 2001. So that was I was like, oh, there they are. That was a moment I had to take for a second. Now, later, a young man buys a special cannon to get his revenge on the Gargoyles who stole his bike and blew it up. And we remember that from the very first season.
Yeah.
And this was an accident, but with real world cost to humans, which I thought was really interesting. Like, we're going back to see like how the humans in this world are dealing with the fact that they're gargoyles, and vice versa, all the things that they were doing, which I thought was kind of glossed over in previous episodes, not for a bad reason, and they had a lot to story to tell, but to kind of revisit this now is kind of like, hey, great idea to bring that up. The thing about him was that at the beginning, no one really believed him because they didn't believe in gargoyles, but a lot of people have seen gargoyles here and there as the story continues on. And so he lost his driver's license. He buys this cannon from a shop owner by the name of Mr. Carter, and he's got
no, I don't know who the shop owner was, but the cannon is who he called Mr. Carter.
Oh yes,
and the shop owner's like, "You're naming it?
Yeah,
is there a problem with that?"
Yeah, that's exactly what. By the way, he names the cannon Mr. Carter. I don't know why I said the shop
Mr.
owner.
Carter.
Yeah, Mr. Carter, and then he has like accent, sort of like I would say John Travolta from Saturday Night Fever. It's very New York and very, I would say, tri-state area.
It's a very more of that. I don't know which part of New York to put it at, because even New York itself has distinct accents, because you get the ones that are more towards Jersey, and that's very distinct as well.
Yeah, it kind of sounds like an Italian, Jersey.
But no, you had it you had it spot on for John Travolta.
Yeah.
Because I've been trying to place it since listening to it.
Yeah.
And as soon as you said it, like, yeah.
Yeah. This other thing that kept happening is this jogger again. He just keeps popping up at various moments, and I'm like, I hope they do something with him. He's seen a lot of weird things in the city, including he was the first one to see Goliath Stone and Elisa guarding it all the way back
in the park.
Yeah, so I would love for it to see a little something with the jogger. We do get to know that Hakan is now a light energy creature or being, and has found their target. His spirit can live in an axe that it's tethering him to the mortal world. So he has formed some sort of partnership with Wolf. Wolf is really interesting because he is, I would say, just as strong or maybe even stronger than Goliath at this point with his advancements, would you say?
Oh, we have noticed that he can definitely now hold his own with Goliath.
Yeah.
This, I guess, teaming up of the two of them has seemed to actually amplified that.
Yeah, oh yes. And there's one scene coming up where it's like, whoa. It turns out that this kid, they keep going back to this kid, and they don't really tell you his name, but they keep telling you the story of.
At this point, we should just call him Johnny, because he's got that.
Johnny,
that Johnny, that John Travolta.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah. Oh man.
Oh man.
And he is so cute. But you're thinking with this huge cannon, it's like this could be very dangerous for the gargoyles, and like what is going to happen. I love the suspense, but he's sort of like a klutz, right? So he's got this big thing, he barely can carry it around, and he was actually there when Goliath found
this kid. Kid, like I said, I'm calling him Johnny because we didn't get a name. He's had the unfortunate to be at a whole lot of situations. He was one of the security guards. He was the security guard that Goliath picked up on
Fortress 1,
the airship.
Yes,
back from like the first big episode.
Yes,
I don't remember whether I think that was episode 4. But
where we first met Renard, and no, we didn't meet Nard quite yet, but that was his ship. It was one of those episodes where you think, okay, the consequences from that particular episode just keep on. It's like the gift that keeps on giving. Uh, and from that incident, he actually lost his career. And there were a couple others, but we haven't gotten to them yet. But he is there, and he is very clumsy, so he falls off the barge that they're on, and then
Because he knocks the stick shift. That's the word I'm looking for. He knocks the stick shift into reverse.
Yeah.
Sending the whole machine going backwards. There's a reason why this guy lost his license, and I don't think it was just Lexington's fault.
Yeah. No one knows that he's there, so he falls in the water, and I was like, oh my God, is he going to die? But he's just fine. He's just... he's got that cannon that he can barely carry. And the Gargoyles at some point get the upper hand and knocks out Wolf, but Hakan uses this opportunity to possess him and attacks the Gargoyle. So if a person is sleeping or knocked out, he can slide right in there and possess them, which is a very cool kind of power set.
This is where we find out where their connection is. Because as Hakan, this is how he knocks the thing into reverse, is by trying to get that picture right there. But but in that moment, that's where we find out the connection between Hakan and Wolf. Because he pops out and goes, "You are a disgrace to our bloodline."
Yeah. It is there that we realize that Wolf is a descendant of Hakan, and once he's possessed by Hakan, he can fly.
Yeah, they fly now.
Yeah, for real. Like, I'm like, what? His powers are so jacked up, and I'm like, why wouldn't? Yeah, I would want to, have that, but they can't make it back to the clock tower in time to reach the Gargoyles, because Wolf is at this point way, way, way too powerful. At the same time, the kid is still going through more of his blunders with the Gargoyles, and he was actually at Genutech Labs.
He was the parking lot security guard.
Yeah, so he got blamed. Every time something went wrong, he got fired.
Yeah, when Goliath came and stole Severius right out of the parking lot.
Yeah, which at that point we didn't know it was him, but it was definitely Goliath. He's watching all of this stuff happen, the entire fight between Wolf, Hakan, and Goliath and Hudson. And I was really happy that Hudson was there, because I don't think Goliath would have been able to do this all on his own for sure. But it was nice that it was the two of them working together. It was such a great action scene cluster at this point. We've got Hakan decides to possess Hudson, but luckily, just in the nick of time, Goliath wakes him up. It was really intense, and really, really, I was like, oh no, what's going to happen? So good. They kind of regroup and go somewhere private, and Wolf is very, very, very upset that Hakan possessed his body, which is very, very a great insight to his personality. There's a lot of ego going on there, but also this is his domain. He wants to do it himself. He wants to be himself, which is very interesting, because and Hakan not asks him, but kind of ridicules him about that he got those changes, to modify himself as a mutate. Very interesting. And it also feels like he has his limits. I will not do anything to win, right? So yeah.
It does kind of make you wonder, though, if he actually manages to have kids, would he produce human children or puppies?
Ooh. Yeah. Well, who's gonna get with him is the other question. Who is going to be his bride?
Yeah.
He'll have to go to Dr. Severus and ask for some clones. Oh my goodness.
We'll get there.
So yeah. And so so what did you think about Wolf saying, okay, that's enough here. I'm not gonna have you possess my body.
That actually seemed really on brand for him.
Mm-hmm.
Because that seems to be part of the core of his character is no matter what, he wants to be the one in charge, be it of the team. I mean, his body would only be an extension of that desire.
Yeah.
And the fact that he didn't care. He's like, I'm going to throw this axe right into the fire if you don't get out of here.
Yes, I loved it. I was like, oh snap, he's serious.
I don't care that you turn me into furry Poppins.
Yeah. And I thought that was really awesome. And Hakan switches up real quick. He's like, oh no, okay, whatever you want. You crazy kid.
The fact that in all of this he didn't once call him a mangy mutt, little disappointed.
Oh,
you know?
Yeah. That would have came eventually. I'm sure.
All this time, Wolf has been like a wolf hybrid, and nobody's done that. Really disappointed.
Yeah. So luckily there's a separation, but it turns out that Goliath and Hudson make their way to a junkyard, which is like the perfect place to have a duke 'em out fight in the middle of a city. Hakan and Wolf catch up to Goliath and Hudson at the junkyard and have the upper hand mostly the whole time. Meanwhile, the kid keeps on trying to and clumsily failing to shoot Goliath. It's really super, super comical at this point, to the point where he falls into a garbage disposal and it takes off somewhere, and you're like, oh yeah, he's gone. You're not going to see him for the rest of the story. The axe, Hakan controlling it, fights Hudson, and it's actually a pretty good fight. Hudson does something rather clever, and they kind of set this up earlier in the story where there's the junkyard and you see it crushing cars. There's a place where it can crush things. So he leads the axe to that area, kind of tricks Hakan into getting his axe stuck into the machine, and it crushes him and his spirit disperses. And so Hudson says, get an afterlife.
Yes.
It's really, I mean, I love the lightheartedness, but also true. He's been going after Goliath for so long. He's really in purgatory because of this, so he really needed to be free. So in many ways, for his own good, this freed his spirit, which was kind of a good thing. I don't think it was bad. And there he is. At the same time, Wolf is defeated by Goliath using his own strength against him, which I thought that was really cool, and kind of cleverly placing him in a place where he notices the cars are about to fall. And he's like, okay, let me get him riled up and make him.
He drops a Buick on him.
Yeah. a whole bunch of them. And it's really, that's the only way to get rid of this guy. You got to drop a Buick on him. And so I guess he must, I don't know where they put him, but he's
the pound, probably.
The puppy pound. Like, here, take care of this. They may have taken him to the police, because the police by now should know him.
Oh yeah, they had him locked up as a dog before.
Yeah,
but before they got there, Johnny Boy pops up while they're still in the junkyard.
Yes, he's so cute, and he well, at the time. at this point, he's not very cute, because it looks very dangerous. I was like, oh my god, he is going to shoot Goliath. He's like, okay, prepare to be creamed, and shoots Goliath, and it turns out that it's
he shoots him with a pie.
Yeah. Literally, he literally creamed him. And he says, prepare to get, he really was talking about creamed. And also in the beginning, when he was at the shop, he did say something, oh, this will cream anybody. And I didn't take it for
literal.
Yeah, for the little sense. This was so cute, and I thought, wow,
as soon as he shot the pie at him, And we see this. The guy's like, "Hey, now we're even," and walks off.
And then I walk. Yeah, see, I have my note says he's now even, and he hums the theme song while walking away. I mean, he totally lost it. So, yeah, that was really nice. That they had this kind of like lighthearted story right after such a
Something
heavy,
really heavy,
yeah. Yeah, so that was awesome. I really dig that. So we have season 2, episode 47, Turf. And let's see if we can get to, yes, on the previously on, we see Angela meeting the boys. And we also see Thomas Brood in Prague. And we also see a clip of Dracon. Dracon's guys are stealing cars and stripping them down for parts. The Gargoyles are patrolling the streets with Angela, trying to impress her, but it's Angela who notices a suspicious hover vehicle.
As anyone would have seen coming.
Yeah.
They finally have a potential love interest.
Oh yeah.
So of course they're doing what every teenage boy does. Yes, I'm calling all of you guys out, and they're fighting over the pretty girl.
Yeah, yeah. And this is very interesting. I'm not sure if I should say this or not, but the writer for this series said that Lexington in particular was definitely gay coded, or and so I suppose at this point in this series he hadn't found himself yet, and still thought he was interested in girls, because he's definitely fighting over Angela as well. So it's really,
I think bi more than anything, but
yes. Oh yeah,
because he has shown interest in females, but the thing he seems to show the most interest in is technology.
Yeah, he's definitely one of us nerds. So I love Lexington. I thought it was very interesting, because Angela noticing the hover vehicle, she's like, that looks familiar, but she couldn't exactly place it at that time. The next thing is that a squad of military ops invade the car stripping location and destroy all the cars, and the police is also there and has the entire place surrounded. Dracon's guys make a run for it, and also these militia dudes are also having some problems as well. With them is a blonde operative, and she gets knocked out during the process. Meanwhile, the Gargoyles are just fumbling it. It's just
not only did Angela spot the hover glider thing,
yeah,
she also spotted a big brick tower that the three guys didn't, and they flew into.
yeah. They're just distracted, and she's just frustrated because she's about the work. She's like, actually going to help with this whole thing? Are we going to keep spinning around in circles? So it's really frustrating for her. But they're fighting about spending more time with Angela. And I think the biggest thing was that Brooklyn said, hey, 2 of you will follow the car and the other 2 will follow the hovercraft. And Angela, you're with me. And that sets everybody off. Like, what? You're abusing your power.
Why do you get to spend the most time with her? Well, I'm the one in charge.
No, it's great. It was great. Actually, really cute. And again, playing up on the lightheartedness, but also not making it so goofy that it's a turn off, like, that you're not interested in the story anymore. Well, the bad guys are pretty much getting away in their vehicle, going over what was wrong. We get more conversation between Broad. This is Broad who's doing all of this, and Broad was of course Thomas Broad, and also the blonde. And I'm looking at the blonde, and I'm like, you look familiar. Are you?
And then she starts talking.
Yeah, when she starts talking, we know it's the same voice of Sally Richardson, which is who voices Elisa, and her character's name is also Sally. So I was
Yeah.
like, oh, so
That
okay.
was adorable.
Yeah.
Yeah, at this point, they're like, how did the cops know we'd be there? Well, all of my team is good. So she's like, well, it must have been me.
Yeah. And he's like, oh, I love you, well, in certain terms, he likes her spiciness. And so it was very interesting because she's the one who came up with the plan, and they're just trying to figure out who can be trusted. And there seems to be a lot of dudes from his hangout in Prague there as well. So that's pretty cool. But this is definitely where we are like, that's Elisa. That's her voice, where she must be undercover like she was in a quite a few episodes back.
Oh, yeah.
And Dracon is in jail, but he wants to still hold on to his territory. And all of this news of like these attacks that are happening, he wants retaliation. So he orders Glasses to retaliate immediately. And this is definitely the beginning of a turf war. Oh, and I didn't ask you, what did you think when you realized that Elisa was kind of going undercover and was pretending to be Sally? Did you have any particular thoughts about what this episode was going to include? Or
I really didn't, other than the fact of her in the thing. I'm like, again.
Yeah.
Like, how many times are these people going to fall for this?
Yeah.
Because we know it's her. They haven't they haven't said it at this point, but for us it's painfully obvious.
Yeah. And Brad, really, I don't think he got a chance to interact with her in Prague. He doesn't recognize her, so that's the whole thing. But I think he knows something is up, But I don't think he actually knows it exactly. Like there's something about her that everybody's kind of like looking, but it's not really like obvious. So
I just looked it up. The guy who voices Glass also does the voice for Talon.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Cool. And so we find out that the blonde's name is Sally. She is taken to the precinct along with Brad, and they're going to interrogate them. Well, Sally gets away and goes to the clock tower. And if you didn't know that it was Elisa, then you're like, oh my
At
God,
that point,
yeah.
Of course, she just magically seemed to have discovered the entrance to the clock tower.
Yeah, and so the only other reason is if you thought perhaps maybe this was Elisa's evil twin, perhaps you might have some concerns. But when the guys see her, they're like, who is this? They're not sure who it is until she pulls off her wig, and they're like, oh yeah, I knew all along, whatever. And Angela's like, yeah, right. She did pull a fast one over on the boys, which was really cute. She explains everything to them, that she's undercover and she's trying to bust Tomas Road, and she needs their help following them just to make sure she's safe. Angela is like really desperate here, and she goes to Elisa and says, Elisa, what am I going to do with these guys?
I didn't even catch that they were flexing.
Yeah, they're flexing. Yeah, a big mess. Yeah, they were acting a fool, and she's like, you're a big girl. You should tell them how you want to be treated. And I think that's something that as a lady or a young lady that you have to learn. You kind of have to learn how to do that. And so maybe some people don't know don't get to learn it, but you have to learn like how to like ward off all of the, or not just ward off, but like have some people like treat you with some moniker of respect. Yeah, because it could get to be a little bit much with, when you're trying to do something and people are clamoring and doing wild stuff. You're like, what? I just want to do a good job. And that's what she's all about, the job. But I think she also is interested in them. She's just not like wanting.
They're doing too much, and I'm completely with her. The fact that they keep calling her Angie at this
Yes,
point.
yes,
Oh my god.
yeah, yeah. It's wonderful. Like, and the little things that they show you that they do. That's really, it's cute, but it's also can be overwhelming to have
It's like,
so much
don't do that.
attention. Yeah, yeah. And then so the chief talks to Elisa about the case. She just kind of goes over like what's going on, but Elisa wants to stake out both gangs before they get too powerful. That's why she's involved, and she's going undercover. She doesn't like whoever wins this turf war is going to be the most powerful lord on the streets. So she wants to get to them before they get out, it gets out of hand. Broad and Sally are released. I kind of like the way Broad is kind of like
Protective of her.
yeah, I like that. I thought that was a cute little moment. The Gargoyles follow Broad and Sally to wherever they are, and the boys are still fighting each other. And and that's when Angela like really lays down the law. She's like, okay, whoever gets to be the winner of whatever contest you're going in, you don't get to keep me. And
Yeah.
I was like, ooh. And then she's like, and another thing, don't call me Angie. I was like, which is like if yeah, it is very interesting. Like I like to call people by what they want to be called, right? Like, so usually if there's somebody has like, oh, they introduce themselves with a play name or a nickname, then you just use that nickname, right?
Yeah.
And if you found out that their name is like officially like Catherine Zeta James, you just be like, I'll call you your nickname until you tell me it's you can call me this other name too, because I think it's a little bit overstepping your bounds, of how you should call people. It's the name they told you to call them. And even her dad calls her Angela.
Angela. Yeah.
Yeah, he doesn't call her
And
Angela.
he's not really the type to, be all homey and I'm giving you a nickname type anyway.
Yeah, he isn't.
The fact that he actually goes jalapenos is entertaining for me, but I think that's as relaxed as he gets.
Yes, and I forgot about the last episode. They used jalapeno very gently. I was like, Hudson says it in passing, which I was like, oh, they're still using jalapeno. Yes, so this is very interesting because she really lays the line, the law down with them, and they absolutely deserve that stern talking to. And after that, they were like, oh yes, yeah,
Yes,
he didn't mean to be, I was like, yeah. And I think also too, because when this has happened in my life personally, and where I had to straighten some people out, and I usually do it very nicely. I never am rude about it. There's always an apology of like, oh, I didn't know that's how that made you feel. You know what I mean? And so it was really nice to see the boys immediately apologize and realize, yeah, we were being a little bit out of line there.
You get nice at first.
Yeah. When they ignore it, that's when you get nasty. Yeah, sometimes you have to get, when people don't listen to you, you kind of have to raise your voice a little, so to speak. And then Dracon really strikes really, really hard at Tomas Brood by destroying his favorite hangout, the restaurant that they usually go to. So they decide to steal a shipment of Dracon's weapons and attack him. And it's really funny because Elisa looks over at the phone booth and is like, it's almost, there's the phone booth right there. And she's kind of like, oh, I want to make a phone call. It's really a wonderful little thing that they did in the line of the camera kind of thing where you see like she's concerned and there's the phone that she could use to call to say, hey, there, I need help. But I'm not sure if it is there that she decides that they decide that they're going to go to Dracon's cell in in prison and actually kill him there. I'm not sure if that's the exact. Do you remember if that was exactly when they decided that?
No, I don't remember.
Yeah, but it's eventually what they're gonna do. They have a location of where to get the guns, and they try to get it from this train, and they don't make it. It's a hot mess. It's basically a trap, and the gargoyles have to come in and save them. But this was Broad's tip off that something weird was going on, because he says, I saw those same creatures in Prague.
Yeah.
And Sally is like, oh, Drax.
Now, why did they save us? I've fought them before.
Yeah.
Maybe they hate Dracon more than they hate you.
Yeah. And I think that was maybe just too much of a tip off, but it didn't quite phase him as strongly as maybe it should have, But I'm sure looking back, he'll be like, oh, that was the moment. Okay, I'm sorry. Maybe that wasn't it quite, because
she does. I don't know if we did her telling them to stop it out of turn, but
yes, I think, yeah. We're probably a little bit early on that little part, but it's still she ends up having to save Lexington, because he does something a little silly, because he's like, oh, I'll prove I can go do it. And she's like, ends up saving him, and then they get in trouble, and then everybody pitches in to save them both, which is where she actually says no. And she has her moment to let them have it, if you will, and
because
let them
Elisa's
know.
counting on them, and they don't have their heads in the game.
Exactly. This is a life and death situation. Elisa could die if they don't straighten up their act, and so she is in the right mind to do exactly what she did, which was tell them to straighten up. They do. They like I said, they are very apologetic, and then they just do the right thing from there on out. They go after the hovercraft, deal with the remaining goons there on the hovercraft, but on the ground, Broad finds Dracon's cell, and they're in there, and they're about to kill Dracon. They're about to kill him, and Elisa actually saves his life. And she's like, oh boy, I'm gonna have to save Dracon's life. She doesn't want to, but she has to. Her cover has been blown, and the gargoyle.
Well, of course, Dracon recognizes her.
Yeah,
because speaking from somebody who does wear a wig, a wig doesn't change how you look.
Yeah, like, it doesn't change your face.
You're still recognizable.
Yeah. And so there's a full unmasking, and just in time the gargoyles come in to save her, which is superb timing, if you will. One of those moments where she's like, here are the bad guys, they were on my turf. Yep. So that was actually kind of a cool thing. Gargoyles leave just in time for the cop, and it is just great. So at the end, we have the gathering of all the gargoyles just before dawn, and a lot of the guys are really sorry and very apologetic about their behavior. But Angela just tells them to slow down, that she likes them all, actually, and gives them all a kiss, and says they'll, also there's 15.
I'm not the only girl out there.
Yeah. 15 rookery sisters on Avalon. I mean, that's a lot. They're like, can we get out there and
it's not just Avalon. There's girls elsewhere too.
Yeah. That's also something else to remember. It's one of those moments where, like, okay, so I love the writing here because you have these sheltered boys. They're not playing them off as just wooden characters. They're going through puberty. They want to match up with somebody. They have biological clocks too. So you
Mhm.
know what I mean? So it's very cool. I love all of that stuff. Just the tease that maybe one day these guys will be able to go to other places and see and
I
meet
know.
some of the other great gargoyles out there. The last scene of this, Dracon and Tomas are put in a cell together and are probably beating the snot out of each other.
Oh, yeah.
And who knows, they may decide to come together to plan to destroy the gargoyles and Elisa Maza one day. You never know, but they for the time being they just hate each other.
Mhm.
So this could have not been the best and worst punishment for them. Oh man. Yeah, and all you hear is like at the end.
I know.
Oh gosh. So season 2, episode 48, The Reckoning. Well, on the previously on, we've got Angela asking if Demona was her mother and Demona transforming into a human during the daylight.
Mhm.
So that is really quite interesting to see how this all plays out in the episode. We have Demona doing something weird and strange around a research facility with a robotic apparatus, and it looks like she's gathering weapons. They are assuming, and this is like a group of gargoyles that are watching her do this. This is Angela, Goliath, and anyone else with them? I think is it Hudson with them?
I
Can't remember.
don't remember.
Yeah, but for sure those two are there,
Mhm.
and they notice, oh, it's Demona. She's up to no good. So
It
they
was
just like
not Broadway, the other one, the red one. Why am I drawing a blank
Brooklyn.
on his name? Brooklyn. Thank you.
Brooklyn. Yeah, yeah.
All this
And
time I'm drawing a blank on his name.
which I thought was really good because he is his second in command, and
Yeah.
so I like to see him be part of it more to get him the training. They immediately just start attacking her.
Mhm.
No question asked, just start attacking her, and she's of course defending, but also like trying to do this thing that she's doing. So what they do is that they actually apprehend her at first, and they were concerned whether that she was alive or not because she got knocked out. Angela's like, is she okay? Is she alive? And Goliath confirms, like, yeah,
Like, yeah.
she's alive. But they're concerned because they don't know where to put her. They can't just keep her around, but they decide to place her in a prison of some sort. And Brooklyn says he knows exactly where something like this could be achieved and takes them to the mutates, who are on the underground system of the subways in New York City. And there's been an agreement to watch her by day and by night. So the gargoyles watch her by night, and or they take turns to do that, and then the mutates will watch her by day. It's a pretty good system. When Demona awakes, naturally she's she's uh, a little feisty. She's like, what, why am I in here? She does all that stuff. But also along with that, while they're all there, people have been complaining about mosquito bites.
Mhm.
And these little, they're like,
I mean,
mosquitoes everywhere.
they're in the sewer, so you kind of just shrug it off.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's the perfect time of year. Talon also says, he's like, oh, I'm sorry. We have one thing we have down here is mosquitoes. And that is quite interesting. It comes into play a little bit later.
Mhm.
And when Demona awakes, she sees Angela, and she's like, I remember you from Prague. And,
Who are you? I know all the gargoyles. No, you
yes.
don't.
Yeah, you don't know all the gargoyles, okay? And so she does like this whole thing like I'm your daughter, and Angela says I'm your daughter, and she's like, oh, I don't have a daughter.
How dare you mock me?
Could it be that I have a daughter? It's like, she's really
Laying it on thick.
laying it on really. If you see this a couple of times, like if you see this more than once, you're gonna be like, oh boy. You'll realize how she's really playing it up.
Angela even says, I'm told that there's a resemblance.
Yeah.
We need to get both of you mirrors.
Yeah. And Angela says, okay, well, I'll be the first to watch her. And Goliath's like, no. You see, he doesn't trust what Demona could say to her or do. He really wants to separate the two. Mm-hmm. But Hudson is like, no, let this play out. And I think that was a wise choice, because no matter what, for as long as she lived, she would want to know.
She's going to be curious.
Yeah, she's going to be curious, and she'll want to know. This is the safest atmosphere for her to actually interact with her mother, to be very honest with you. So it's
natural to be curious about your other parent.
Yes.
If you don't have a connection with.
Yeah. I think I love this is why one of the reasons why I love the writing. She's kind of rejectful of Angela in the beginning, but she blames humans, of course, for their separation as soon as she can, as soon as the opportunity.
Yeah. Oh, because Angela says, "Oh no, Princess Catherine took all of the eggs, and protected them. She stole them. She stole the precious." Sorry, wrong series.
Yeah. I mean, look, I love Demona so much because she is consistent. Okay, yes. She is consistent. It's being voice acted by
Marina Sirtis.
I'm
sure I'm saying her first name wrong.
Let me check it really quick.
She just does give off some time, very much so in this episode. She gives off that Gollum energy.
Yeah.
Stalls the precious.
Yeah. Yes, Marina Sirtis. Oh, she's just wonderful in this. Her voice is just so good, so expressive, and I've got to give her just huge props for just delivering such an incredible job on the voice performance of Demona. It doesn't work in any other way without that emphasis on that she puts in it. And very interesting, because this guy, is his name Fang or Claw? I think it's Fang, right?
I think so.
Okay, so Fang is in the cell right next to her. And I thought this was a very interesting moment, that he's hatching out the days that he has been in prison. And that means the last time we saw him, it's only been 10 days.
Well, from what we can see.
Yeah, from what we can see. I would figure, like, if it was more, they would have showed us like a little bit more, I think. But yeah, that from what we can gather, which is kind of interesting when you put all of the episodes together and kind of look at it. And also we have to take in consideration any of that time, like at Avalon and all those places are magical zones in which, time is like kind of stands still. It's like to me, this is fascinating, because it's like trying to piece together a puzzle, right? Trying to figure this out.
Like what episodes overlap, and that was kind of actually what I was just about to say, because it's the way I figure it, it's fairly obvious that Reckoning and Turf happened simultaneously.
Yes. Yes, you know, because there's a definite like missing of those characters,
Mhm.
and there we have, you know, sort of at the end, Hudson and Goliath come in at the end and join the boys and Angela, and then they kind of group together. So I'm so glad that you said that
Mhm.
because I think just in watching those two episodes, we're seeing that multiple episodes happen on the same day.
Yeah.
And so we can gather that there's hasn't been a whole lot of time that has passed during all of this. So that's pretty cool. And I love the addition of this character, he, of course, played by Jim Belushi, and hilarious, really brings a bit of fun to the episode as well, or mischievousness too, a little bit of a shenanigans, if you will. Well, of course,
Yeah, we see
Demona,
Demona open up her belt buckle,
yes.
and a little mosquito flies out.
As soon as that happened, I was like, "Oh, Demona, you're part of this. Is part of a plan, isn't it?" It is very, very shocking at that moment to see that, and you look at the look on her face and how she's like, "Everything is going according to plan." Kind of, that's the look that she's giving. At this point, Lexington is guarding the cell, and the little tiny robotic mosquito comes out of her belt and zaps him, and he's like, "Oh, mosquitoes." And I'm like, "That's no mosquito." And it flies to Severus's lab, in which
Mhm.
he is gathering up samples, and he shows the full detail of how he's doing this and creating clones or mixture creatures or something. He's
Yeah, he's like,
brewing
"Oh,
up something.
whose DNA do we have today?"
Yeah, yeah. It's great. It's really great. And so this is the contraption that they're using. It's wonderful to see them like actually think out the process of this. They've been collecting samples of they must have collected hundreds of samples. This specifically was targeting the gargoyles in
Mhm.
particular. And then look who comes out of the shadows. It's Thaylog, and that means that Demona really wanted to be captured, and that
Yep.
this was all part of a big act. Everything she said is a complete act. It was like, oh man, Demona.
Yeah, and as soon as she shows up, she's like, "Hey, boo."
Yeah. And it's really funny because when he shows up to bust her out of prison, she gives him a compliment. I forgot the exact compliment, but he gives her this dashing smile, which is like, "Oh,
Mhm.
Thaylog," and it's really interesting to see him. He looks like Goliath, but he's such a showboat too. But he's also like big and gregarious. Like it's a wonderful character that they've constructed there. I really
Mhm.
like him a lot, but he is not a nice guy.
He's
He is
he's like the ultimate bad boy, and that's what makes him even worse 'cause
Yeah.
you just gotta you can't help but love the bad boy.
Yeah, yeah. He's really, really bad. Okay, but we haven't gotten to see how bad he really is just yet. He shows up. She cozies up to him immediately, breaks her out of prison. They take Fang out with them to the amusement park, and this is sort of their little hub that they're going to be doing whatever they do. Talon and Goliath follow them, but they don't have enough people, so Goliath goes back and gathers the boys, and everybody comes to
I I
figure things out.
I love that they actually turned around and said, "It seemed a little too easy following them.
Yeah,
This has got trap written all over it." I'm like,
yeah, yeah. And this is a picture from a little bit before. It took 5 weeks, so Demona was in jail for 5 weeks
"Yep."
basically. So yeah, that's pretty shocking. And then when they arrive, this is the smile that he flashed
I know, right?
Demona, and she's like, "Oh yeah." So once they are all there, they figure out ways to get into the building. Once they're in there, man, it action non-stop. They encounter genetic twins of themselves that are even juiced up a little bit more, so they're mixed with other creatures to amplify their power, and it is like
she did name them, and they were all like California names.
yes.
I know, like Burbank was Hudson, I think, and
Broadway has Hollywood.
Yep.
Gargwiki. They must have it here. Okay.
We're on the same spot.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Burbank, Brentwood,
Burbank.
Malibu, Hollywood, and Delilah.
Yeah. Who we'll see in a few moments.
Yeah.
I think we will. So yeah, it's really intense, and these guys are super powered, so they are much stronger than their original. Actually, the one that's the copy of Lexington is really scary.
I know, right?
And yeah, they're just so that everybody gets captured. Then we have sort of a family picture of everybody together, and Demona's like, yes, this is my clan now, and then she's kind of shows off all the new people, and Thaylog has programmed them with one thought only: obey Thaylog. Yeah, that's it. Nothing else. They have no personalities. They have nothing but just that. And
they don't even have verbs.
Yeah, and the reason why he did that is because Severus tells him you don't want to create another you. And he's like, exactly. So this is their crowning moment. They have defeated the Gargoyles of Manhattan. But the first thing that Thaylog wants to do is destroy the child of Demona and Goliath. And it is very interesting to see that
this is the moment where he f***ed up.
Yeah. Demona's like, no, not her.
She's like, yeah, destroy the rest of them, but yeah, she's mine.
Which
literally, she actually says that.
Yeah, she's mine. And I'm like, why would you mess this up? Why would you mess this up? And it really reveals that Demona this whole time knew that Angela was her daughter, and she was faking it, all that shock, and like, oh, really? She knew all along, and it was like, yeah, I definitely, like I said, when you rewatch the episode, you see how thick she was.
You watched it for the first time, and you still caught that she was laying it on.
Yeah.
Thick.
Yeah. It was just like, I was like, what is she up to? He's like, I knew this was going to happen, so I got your replacement. And the replacement is a mix between Demona and Elisa, which is probably a big slap in the face for Demona on so many levels. First of all, she loves him ridiculously. Like she really loves Thaylog.
Well,
but
as much
also,
as she can, I guess.
Yeah, as much as sure. And she's like, Elisa has been a thorn in her side since the very beginning that she met her, and so like now her replacement is
yet again Elisa.
And so again she's like,
both versions went for Elisa.
Yeah. Piast, right? No, that's another thing. Like there must be something to Elisa and Goliath being a couple, because he just instinctively said, "Oh, and he programmed her to be in love with him and to also like do anything
obedient.
Yeah, anything he says, and she's like, what do you want me to do? And he's like, I want you to kill them for me. And she's about to do it, but
thankfully she has a better vocabulary than the rest of them. But
Yes. I think he wanted to have at least some kind of conversation with
Mhm.
that one.
I'll give him
But
points on that one.
yeah, yeah. And so Demona is like, she frees Goliath and says, "Save our
Mhm.
daughter." But her goal at this point, because he done messed up, is to get Thalog.
Yeah,
That's all she cares about. She has seen red. It's like that. He is going down.
yeah.
And I love it. I love it. She's just like,
At least she's finally aiming for revenge on somebody who deserves it,
I
you know?
know. And oh, they are fighting like beasts. And we already know that Demona can definitely fight Goliath. She's not going to win, but
Yeah.
and we know that she can definitely go toe to toe with him. And that's from, her years and years and years of fighting, her years of being out there, and also like the lack of fear she has. Okay, but
And
this man
yeah,
picks her up.
the century of fighting training
Yeah.
that she has above him, and she also has at this point the protective mother rage.
Yes, protective mother rage and jilted lover rage.
Mhm.
Because he had her replacement in mind
He
this whole
played
time.
her. He
Oh
played
yeah,
her and then tried to offer baby.
yeah.
I don't wanna
Because
be him.
because if she had gone along with it and let him kill Angela and the rest
Mhm,
of the plan, well, where's Delilah? She's just waiting for
mhm.
the
She'd
moment.
still be waiting in the wings.
Yeah, until he decided, oh, okay, well, I'm
"Okay, I'm
tired of
bored of you."
this. Yeah. Very, very wild. And they fight to the point where, they're on a roller coaster ride, and it's like a wooden one. And it's like,
Yeah, one of those old wooden ones.
oh yeah, like the ones from like Coney Island. And it's
Probably.
on fire. It's on fire. It is burning, and they go down. And
Mhm,
it's assumed that she died in the fire, and they really can't do anything about it because there's a lot of smoke there. It's just a huge mess. They really can't go in there. They believe Thalog is dead too. So that's
mhm,
another thing. Angela really takes this pretty hard. She really does. Even though, and I think she takes it really hard because the last words that she said to her mother was, "I hate you." And she really regrets that. She really does. As well, Thalog's clan is really totally lost without him. They are completely clueless.
Well,
And
they had one directive.
yeah, yeah. And and this one, this move was kind of freaked me out because I was like, wait a minute, trying to say, well, where do we put them? And then Lexington is like, these guys
I
creep me
don't wanna
out.
take him back to the tower, like and he looks directly at himself and goes, "They creep me out." We're
Yeah,
all thinking, "Same."
yeah. And also though, it's really kind of sad because
And they're
they
like,
are,
"What do now?"
yeah. Oh man, they're so sad. I really felt bad for them because they didn't have any kind of training. They didn't know who to be.
Mhm.
And so Talon says, I'll take them in.
Yeah.
We'll teach them how to be themselves.
I love that the one looks at him and goes, "You master now?" Goes, "Nope, I'm gonna be your friend, and I'm gonna teach you how to use verbs."
So yeah, I really hope that they do something with this along
Hi.
the line, because that's a ripe story for them to use. It's very interesting that we're so far into season 2, and we're still getting a plethora of new characters. And just in general, season 2 has so many characters, so many new
I know.
characters.
I'm running
And
out of season 2.
Yeah, so that's really awesome. And yeah, they are all going to be living in the labyrinth from now on, which
Yep.
is the labyrinth is turning out to be a huge city almost, um,
Mm,
of different creatures and the homeless, all sorts of stuff. They might as well just set themselves up as their own little city, basically.
basically, they already are.
Yeah, just really cool. Imagine if Xanatos gave them some technology, or or even better yet, yeah, Lexington can hook them up with some technology to really pimp
They
out
seem
that
to already
thing.
have some.
Yeah, and maybe he could train his clone. Who knows? Yeah. Okay, so this one, we are at season 2, episode 49. Possession is
Mhm.
the title. The
This is
no.
one I've been waiting for a while now.
Oh, yeah?
Yes, because as I know you're going to say, they do start off talking about Coldstone.
Yeah, they start talking about Cold Stone. They also review a little bit about the rules to Puck's magic,
Mhm.
and how he's limited to only use his magic when he's teaching
Teaching or protecting.
Alexander. Yeah, or protecting Alexander. Very important here. Yeah, they show Stone Cold and kind of go through a very brief history of his many entities. Um, they start off in the Himalayas. The Steel Clan comes in, and Xanatos as well grabs Coldstone. For he has the upper hand for most of this battle, but they manage to fry his circuits and have him apprehended. Which is like, okay, what's going on? Is Xanatos up to his old tricks again? And
Mhm.
they don't tell you really anything much, and they just are working on Coldstone's body, doing some fiddling around in there. It's very unclear exactly what they're doing. They're trying to transfer something from Coldstone, and Owen can't use magic to do it. So they take a break and unfortunately leave Coldstone on the table, dismantled partially. And he's like, "You can't just leave me like this." And it turns out that Fox and Xanatos are going out for the evening, and they need Owen to do a little babysitting. And so that is basically how the story begins. So there's this whole thing, like a few beats later, we see Goliath and Hudson come into the room and rescue Coldstone and takes him back to the clock tower.
And they are
Along
ridiculously smiley.
Yes, especially Hudson. I'm like, Hudson is saying nothing. Look at him. What's going on with Hudson?
I mean,
Um,
you can even see here the goofy smile that Goliath has.
yeah, yeah. It is really
Hi.
and it's like, is this like what's going on here? Let's see. Alongside him is Hudson, who is very quiet and looking on. So that was one thing I noticed on the first viewing. And the second viewing, it was quite comical actually. At the tower, at the tower, Bronx notices something wrong. Goliath uses some magic on him to kind of placate him and like, yeah, this is your friend. We're
Mhm.
friends here. So Bronx is subdued, but this is when you kind of realize this is clearly on the first watch. You don't. This is not something that we're spoiling here because you can.
You don't need the rewatch for it. You see the magic coming out of Goliath's hand,
Yeah.
and like I've said, the goofy grins on their face that are not normal for them.
Yeah, and just a change in their talking patterns too. This is clearly Puck in disguise, and
Yeah.
the husk that's next to him is is really the baby possessing someone, or in the
Hudson.
shape of someone else.
In the shape of Hudson at the moment. Yeah.
Yes, yes. He convinces them to perform a magic transfer of the souls. Two of them is what he needs, but he needs them to volunteer. Well, in the mix of it, Angela and Broadway are the first to volunteer, and then Brooklyn says, "Hey, I'll volunteer too." But you only needed 2, didn't you? And
Yeah.
well, that's an interesting little tidbit because volunteering is the key to the spell. If Brooklyn hadn't volunteered, it would have only transferred the 2 souls, right? And so that's where we have kind of this kind of mishap, if you will. Goliath claims, "Oh, after doing the spell, I'm really, really exhausted. I need to rest. So come with me, Hudson. Let's talk." And but they actually disappear. We have a Cold Stone in Broadway's body,
Hmm.
and the female gargoyle that was inside of Cold Stone, she's now inside of Angela, and they are, reunited, and in the flesh they can actually like touch each other and kiss each other and hold each other. So I thought that was very interesting. They're like, "Oh, let's go away somewhere to be alone together." I was like, "Ooh, what's going on there?"
Again.
It was really, I was really like, I wonder how far they're gonna go here. But they were tasteful, and it was really great that Puck goes back to Xanatos's lair and says, "This is your first lesson, the Soul Transference 101." And I was like, "Yay!" There was something really cool about it because that he was in his intention what he was doing at that point. He was
Yeah.
teaching Alexander magic, and he was also trying to set things correct in some way. It's not entirely all thought out or revealed to us exactly.
Yeah, it's not all
How.
revealed to us. Going back watching this, I'm fairly certain Puck had all of this planned out.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, he did. And I think it was really cool that they figured out how to make it part of a lesson to
Mhm.
teach the baby at the same time. And um it, it's actually kind of interesting. The baby has,
An impressive amount of power that he can do all of this
yeah,
at this
yeah.
age.
Yeah, so the baby has a conscience, like is already connecting to
Mm.
a conscious idea. So that I thought that was really good, and understands language as well.
Mhm.
Brooklyn, what we don't know is because Brooklyn agreed or volunteered, he also too got possessed, but he got possessed by that evil guy that has been terrorizing the lovers ever since like the first
Not
season.
that they really tip it off at this point, but
Yeah.
you can kinda tell that he's acting off.
Yes, yes.
And
There's
his
certain
voice
language that
pattern
he's
is
using.
a bit more flowery than
Yes,
Brooklyn's is.
absolutely. Yes, some of the things that he is saying are just like, that doesn't sound like Brooklyn, and it looks like he's leading them or trying to do something. One of the things that it seems like he wants to do is he's trying to set in the germ of, "Hey, wouldn't it be nice for you to keep those bodies permanently?"
Mhm.
And so I think he's working on that as far as like that. From his vantage point, that seems like a good idea. And then Goliath actually returns with Hudson to find that Coldstone is there and claims that Xanatos is planning something and needs to be attacked.
They also discover Lexington has been wrapped up.
Yeah, and is Lexington, is he out? He's out at this point, right? Because
Yeah,
is he knocked out?
just after, Brooklyn takes off,
Hmm.
we see Coldstone rising,
Yeah,
and, like, right up behind Lexington, and then once Goliath and Hudson show up, Coldstone's gone.
yeah,
And, Lexington is tied up.
yeah. And it's really kind of weird because you're trying to do the math. Like, okay, we got the 3 guys here who are possessed.
So who the heck's
Then
in Coldstone?
yeah, who's inside of Coldstone at this point, and why is he trying to get Goliath and Hudson away from the clock tower? So, Spidey senses are tingling. Well, we're willing to sit back and wait to see what's going on.
And that's the funny part, because in this scene, like Lexington's explaining that to them, that the evil personality must be in charge, and without missing a beat, Brooklyn goes, "That's impossible. How do you know?"
Yeah, exactly, and almost giving himself away, at least giving himself away to the audience, like, hey, he's the bad guy. He's like, okay, well, obviously the bad guy can't be in Coldstone because in Coldstone's body, because I'm not in there. And so it was very, very interesting. I love this kind of writing. This is really clever. The bad guy is like really.
I think they refer to him in the first couple episodes. If you look up on IMDb, the Gargoyle Wiki, whatever, they call him Iago for the most part.
Oh, Iago.
Because you and I did talk about this previously, where it was very much a mirroring of Othello. Yes. So I know. I'm pretty sure they called him like Iago, and I can't remember what the girl's name was.
Oh, okay. So it's really interesting because at this point, they go back to the clock tower to find that Goliath was tricked, and Brooklyn proposes to destroy Coldstone's body. And they're like, okay, let's go get his body and destroy it, because that's where the bad guy is in. And so they all go to Xanatos's place to kind of confront what's going on head on. At Xanatos's place, the two bodies are actually are there that are robotic, that have been created for the two other spirits. So the idea, I suppose, in the beginning was get all out of Coldstone and put them into these other bodies. But they weren't able to do that technologically. They had to use magic to do it. And so that's the reason for all of this stuff here. But somehow these robotic creatures are able to just work on their own. And we believe...
I think they're just robots at this point.
They
needed the souls to give them...
Yeah, they don't have souls. They just do what they're told.
He did give them names. That the guy, which is the base, which spitting image for the two gargoyles for starters. But the guy is Cold Steel, and she is Cold Fire.
Yes, Cold Steel and Cold Fire, really great names. I was like, oh, okay. And still, Coldstone, I think is pretty awesome. And they are really dominating any fight that they're in, really. I mean, it's really not a content. Coldstone explains to everyone that after Goliath helped Xanatos with his son, he wanted to at least try to help his brother and try to make up for some of the bad things he's done. That's why in the very beginning of this episode, Xanatos says to Coldstone, "You'll thank me for this." And I was like, what does he mean by that? While they were apprehending him, that's exactly what he means. He's doing all of this. It seems like he's up to his old tricks, but he is actually trying to be a nice guy, do something great for the gargoyles.
Yes. You're seeing Angela fighting Cold Fire, Broadway for fighting. Actually, I think it's both. Yeah, Broadway's fighting Cold Steel, and sometimes it's Brooklyn.
Yeah, and again, the action sequence here is just really fabulous. They managed to kind of get free, but Goliath and Hudson are all tied up. Lexington, who's acting really weird,
he's smiley again.
It's really super, super smiley. Frees them from their bonds, and it's actually kind of funny because the way he does it, they just drop to the floor, and it's like a huge thud, boom, and they're like, Goliath's like, that's a way to do it, I suppose. But it is actually all part of the plan. The bad guy, who is still in Brooklyn, is seeing his body that has been chosen for him, and he's like, okay, well, it's not that bad of a body. And so that was exactly what they needed. He says, I don't mind being in that body. I can do a lot with it. And that was what they needed to hear.
Much better than this scrawny gargoyle.
Yeah. We just wait a good 30 years. He'll fill out. As we find out later on from that one, before we found out from future tense, he does grow up to be a strong lad.
Yeah.
This is now going to be his new body. So they transfer the bad guy into Cold Steel's body, and he's like, okay, I'm super strong now. Bye, guys. And he takes off. He takes off, which is like, that could be its own spin-off story. If they wanted to do a spin-off story, they could have one of just his, shenanigans, the problems he causes, and so on and so forth. Okay, so it turns out that the baby is inside of Lexington, and it can actually speak. I'm like, oh no, he can speak. And he
baby's first words, and the parents missed it.
Yeah. No. I know his first words were a
magic spell.
were a magic spell, and they were like, I think they asked Puck, this is all you're doing? He says, I haven't been using magic for the last hour or so, or whatever. He transfers the souls out of Angela and Broadway and puts it into the robotic parts, and it was really cute. Puck says, he says, coal fire. Well, and he's like, do you remember what he said exactly to call coal fire? And it was like, hey girl, or something.
Yeah,
like that.
He called the thing over like a dog. It
yeah.
Was, here, girl.
Girl. And it was so funny. I was like, oh, that's really silly, but fun. It's Puck. And so they performed the magic, and everybody's switched up again. And I think this incident is kind of interesting, because when they are back to normal, the two of them kind of look at each other like, what just happened? But also like, there's sort of blushing
going on.
Yeah, a blushing. And so now we have the two lovers again, finally together. They're in robotic bodies, but they can at least be together. And that is something that they'll have to live with for now. I mean, who knows? Now that they're in separate bodies, maybe there is a spell to turn robots into living organisms, or something to that effect. But
I don't know. From here on out, we're kind of on the same footing after next week's recording.
Oh yeah. Oh okay.
Yeah. I really haven't seen pretty much anything of season 3. So
yeah. So that's going to be interesting. This has potential for many stories, and so it's been 20 years. So maybe I'm not sure if they've done anything, but if somebody is writing out there and revisiting this is untapped gold, is all I'm saying.
They really left this off because they're like, okay, so you guys are going to come join us at the clock tower, and they're like, no, as long as our brother is out there, we still have to stop him. He's our responsibility.
Yes.
He's not.
Well, yeah. I mean, and they can all help together. I don't know why they feel like they have to do it alone.
You're free of him, take a couple days off.
Yeah. So yeah, they go looking for him, and they're off to their own adventures. And anyway, I was saying, they could totally have all helped out to try to get.
They could have helped. They have a whole bunch of people at their disposal. Shoot, get Derek and the other mutates down there, because they got the bug zapper thing going on.
Exactly. And I was wondering too, like, it would have been really a good idea for but maybe he didn't foresee that this was going to be a problem, or maybe in Puck fashion, he just was like, oh, well, let's just release this wild thing on the earth. He could have zapped that robot with something like how they apprehended Cold Stone to begin with, So
I think that falls into the interfering thing that he's technically not allowed to do.
yeah.
This was a loophole because it was able to be a teachable moment.
Yes, absolutely. I agree. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense when you explain it like that. Now, Xanatos and Fox returns home, and Owen tells him that the Coldstone issue has been resolved thanks to his son, and it ends with the baby cooing asleep, and he's like a proud dad, and. Only for Xanatos would this be a happy ending, but
it is kind of a happy ending because you do get the three of them free.
Yes,
they all have their own mental faculties. Don't have to share that space.
Yeah,
Xanatos really didn't do anything evil.
No, he didn't. He actually helped. And his son got his first lesson.
Yeah.
Actually saved the day. Yeah, I mean, it is one that I have to say I do really like. This is on one of the top 10, is in the top 10 for episodes, I would say, because they had this running story going along, and excellently, you could have put all three of these episodes right behind each other, and it tells a wonderful little story about these spirits that were trapped inside of Coldstone, and it resolves itself beautifully.
Yes.
I would say so. Yes, bravo for this episode. Definitely one of the favorites. Besides the obvious, ones that we all love.
You can't talk great episodes without mentioning The Gathering.
Yes, The Gathering, and I did like Avalon and those three, and the first 5 as well. That were really pretty outstanding.
Also, the reveal of the backstory of Demona and Macbeth.
Oh yes, yeah, that was so good. Yeah, those cluster ones that I think the ones that they put together and kind of have a part 1, part 2, part 3.
Thinking of clusters.
Yes, the homework, guys, for week 17, season 2. We've got Hunter's Moon part 1, 2, and 3 to go over. Yeah, any thoughts that you can share with us to prepare us for the Hunter's Moon?
I lightly remember this one, so there's not much I can. Like I'm pretty sure I remember how it starts off. But this is wrapping up season 2, and a lot of people do believe that they could have left it off with this. That this was essentially wrapping up the whole series.
Okay.
So pretty much from here on out, I am on the same footing as her. I don't remember much of Hunter's Moon, and I saw like almost nothing of season 3.
Yeah.
So because they had shifted the time at that point, or shifted the time and date.
Oh, really? Yeah.
I think it wound up being like going from Saturday morning or something like that to like after school, and my travel from school to and from school. It was a lengthy time, so I was pushing it a lot of the time to make it in time.
Yeah, and there weren't any way to see reruns of a TV show until like years later. So yeah,
I don't even remember if we had programmable VCRs at that point. If we did, my family didn't.
Yeah, not everybody had the ability to do that, and you would have to have somebody record it for you. Like, you would have to have somebody record it for you, and a lot of people did it like that. But it just wasn't something that you could do readily unless they
And
did a rerun. And
yeah, and they didn't really advertise very well the switch in time and date for it. So a lot of like
um,
I'm sure I wasn't the only one that didn't realize that there was a season 3 until like partway through it.
yeah. Oh, wow. Yeah. According to the showrunner, this is the end for seasons 1 and 2.
Mhm.
And the creator, this is the end of his participation in the project as well. The way he set it up was kind of for the end of everything as
Yeah.
well. So yeah, I'm really curious about the continuation of the storyline in season 3, if they can, live up to this season. What are the differences? But Hunter's Moon looks very interesting. When I see Hunter's Moon, I'm thinking about the hunters,
Yes.
the hunter from way back in
Because
the day,
we've heard
Gildersleeve.
so many times there's always going to be a hunter.
Yeah, yeah. And well, the last hunter that we saw was Macbeth. And so he seems to be on the up and up right now. I mean, not necessarily doing
He's been quiet for a
heroic,
while.
but yeah, he's been quiet and he kind of left. Last time we saw him, he was kind of neutralized, if you will. But
And
uh,
as we know, if the one's alive, the other one's alive. They have to kill each other. So
yeah.
Damona's gonna have to return in one of these 3 episodes.
Oh, that's right. Okay, so we saw her. We
She
saw her
couldn't have
die.
died in that fire
Yeah, yeah, because
because
we saw.
Macbeth wasn't there.
Yes, yes, yes. Okay, so she's definitely alive,
Mhm.
and because that was the whole thing. It looked like she died. I suspected she was going to live through it because she's just Demona. She, you can't just kill her like that. But she's got the magic spell
Yeah,
that keeps her alive.
if it's not Macbeth doing it or
Yes,
dying at the same time.
yeah, so right. And so I'm like, Angela, you've got to remember the spell, but she wasn't there for the spell.
Yeah,
But Goliath should have remembered that spell, unless
he should have.
yeah, he should have remembered about that spell.
Of course, he may have been like partially seeing it as this is an out, so she can just move on from her mother.
Oh, yeah, yeah, maybe. I didn't even
I'm
think
just
about that, but that's a good one.
just speculating.
Yeah, yeah, that's a good one. So yes, guys, this is the homework. I hope you guys get a chance to watch it and join us next week for our review of this. It's been such a pleasure. Season 2 has been fantastic, and I hope it ends with a wonderful parting for Asu. And we'll see you next week. Hey guys, I'm back. Wasn't that just great? I love these. I just love them. I just love. I start laughing at all the parts that we discussed. I couldn't help but laugh so much during this one. It was just great. These 4 episodes in particular are fantastic. Uh, I, I just have to say that if you're going to watch this, I see some of you haven't been able to catch up just yet. I would just jump on, if you've got Disney Plus, go on out there and jump on that. I believe it's on Roku as well, if I'm not mistaken. There may be another 1 or 2 other places where you can watch this. YouTube has a few episodes, I found out. And yeah, just see what you can find out, where you can see this. It's really great. It's one of the best things I've seen all year, to be very honest with you. And um, yeah, Mama Bear says it doesn't hurt to look around. Yeah, because they're like every once in a while you'll get like 1 episode or something. Just keep it up. And yes, Joey says very easy to binge on Disney Plus. Yes, very easy. And it's really just let that sucker play, and you'll enjoy every episode. It's so good, so good. And oh man, this is great. Just so that it's a refresher. Let's see if we can get the homework back up here again. Yes, here's the homework. Next week, week 17, episodes 50, 51, and 52. Great stuff. Really great stuff. And then after that, we'll be off to season 3. And season 3 is very interesting. I'm in I'm editing our videos for season 3 right now, and our comments are pretty interesting. I'll just say that. We uncovered a lot of things about season 3, and I'll leave that as a surprise for you. But before I say goodnight to everybody, just wanted to go over what's going on for the week ahead. So we did our Gargoyle show. Let's see. On Saturday, guys, come back for a wonderful little watch party that I'm having. I'm going to be doing it. We're going to be watching Demolition Man. Okay, you know how much I love my Simon Phoenix. Demolition Man, 1993 watch party, right here on this channel. It's gonna be awesome. And let's see other watch parties that may be happening. Let's take a look into the future of my crystal ball. We've got Fire and Ice. I think I'm gonna do that the following week, and I believe let's make sure Indiana Jones and the Raiders of the Lost Ark is coming soon. I believe that is July 13th. I believe that's when. Um, so yeah, that's in 2 weeks. So yeah, that's what it's looking like so far. Those are great movies. I hope that you'll be able to join me on those. Let's see what you guys are saying in the chat if there's anyone. Let's see. Gary Carpenter says my VCR doesn't have a DVD player, but my first roommate left his behind and it still works, but I have to go hook it up to the VCR. Ooh. I mean, that's all like techie stuff to me. Like, I have no idea how to do that. I actually was trying to see if I can get a VCR and hook it up to my laptop so I can watch the movies or something. I don't know. I'm really confused as to what to do with a lot of this older technology. Now, I do have a CD player to play DVDs, and I think this laptop has one, and I have another place where I do have I'm able to do that. But you can always buy an external CD and hook that baby right up, and you'll be able to see anything you want. And let's see. I have a lot of homework to rewatch Gargoyles on DVD and 3 before next week. Yes, yes. But if you wanted to, right, because you've been following along with us, if you wanted to, just since you've been here every single week, you could just start off with those 3. But the full experience would be to go through everything. I think that would be great. And Moonbeam says, my TV is more for my physical media. I watch things on YouTube and Tubi and Pluto um, TV these days. Oh, that's cool. And Kimberly adds and watching me TV tunes. Let's see. And Joey's got a surprise face. I think there's something there that he likes that I must have mentioned. And Kimberly mentions that she can't wait for Demolition Man. Yes, I love Simon Phoenix. He's such a bad character. I mean, a good bad character, and just the world of Demolition Man. so crazy how much so many things that they predicted, but also didn't. Like we're still waiting for someone to win the restaurant franchise wars. And Gary Coverin is this movie. Do you think Tubi has Gargoyles and other shows like The Muppets? I have the first 3 seasons on DVD. Wow, you must have like an incredible collection. Um, and Moon says, I love season 3. It's a bit darker and gives Batman X-Men vibe. And Spoiler King says, Demolition Man is one of my favorite movies. Oh my goodness. What are you doing Saturday? Come on, let's talk about Demolition Man. And Spoiler King says, Fire and Ice is another great one. I was way too young when I first watched this. Was I way too young when I watched this? I actually saw this when I was an adult. I didn't get to see it when I was a kid. So yeah, I guess it would have been because it's pretty. And then and let's see, Mama Bear says, I think it was par for the course of being young back then. I know I have a few movies I'll watch. I wonder what my dad was thinking taking me to see. Oh yeah, I saw some crazy stuff as a kid. Crazy stuff. I even saw Clockwork Orange in the theater. Now that is a movie you don't want to bring a kid to. And I was there for the whole thing, and I was like, I was like a little bit traumatized, a little bit, but I survived. And I think when it came out, I was in the theater to see Jaws, and I was so I don't know, I wasn't frightened necessarily. Oh no, I take that back. I was frightened, and then I saw it when I got older, and I was like, "Oh, this is so good." I loved it when I saw it later on because I was then like, "Oh wow," and that's it more violent than it is like salacious, but there's a couple of movies I think I saw that were just way too like I was not supposed to see those movies. Like, one was, Looking for Mr. Goodbar. That's a mature movie. That's a mature movie, and there I was in the theater with my mom and her boyfriend, and I was like, "Ooh, what's happening here?" It was very, very weird, and, oh, and Gary Cameron says, I think it's time for me to hit the hay. Good night, everyone. Good night, Gary. So great that you were able to join us today. And hopefully you'll join us next week. You'll be able to um, figure out everything and you'll be able to catch up with the homework and see if you can join us next week. That would be great if you could. And Smaller Kings, I watched heavy metal way too young. My mom didn't really mind back then. Um, I wasn't too young for heavy metal. Um, I mean, yeah, I wasn't too young. I don't think I was too young for heavy metal. It was right up my alley. I loved that stuff. I loved it. It was weird. I was a weird kid. I was such a weird kid. Um, like we went to see Blade Runner. And everybody's like, "What was that when we just watched it?" And I was like, "This is fantastic." I was loving every minute of Blade Runner. It was so great. It blew my mind. And Joey says, um, Clockwork Orange is brilliant. It is brilliant. It's very violent and very there's a lot of stuff in it that I don't think I was too young to be watching, but uh hey, I grew out of it. Um, and, and movie says, "Oh, wow, Clockwork Orange." And sharks. Yeah, I don't like sharks, but, Jaws was a very it's well done movie. Um, just everything about it, just fantastic. And, Eldivino Vega says the Blade Runner is awesome. Oh yes, it is just fantastic. Just that movie is just incredible. I just remember watching it, and then after we walked out of the theater, there's like a little area where you could buy like some of the comic book stuff, and my mom got me a comic book of the movie, and I ripped that thing to shreds, but just by reading it all the time, all the time, all the time. I was obsessed with Zora, and that whole sequence where she's like running in the street, and she's like, and he shoots her, and she's like, it's so tragic the way it all happens. It's all like very stylized, the music and everything, very stylized. So it was something else. It was something blew my little mind. And Moonbeam says a Clockwork Orange is not for kids. Yes, no, oh, absolutely. I don't know why. I don't know what they were thinking, but uh, let's see. It says a reviewer is born from stuff seen too young. Yeah, yeah, I think so. Oh man. And Kimberly says, a retro nerd girl, she's my bestie. Oh, you're so sweet. And Mama Bear says, my dad trolled me by claiming the kids got eaten by giraffes. Oh no. That was one clever movie. It was very good, and they pulled off the special effects, and just the tension in a lot of the scenes was just so well done. Well, just so well done. And Davina says, yeah, that's a great scene. Oh, it's so good. It's so good. It's just beautiful. Um, my other favorite scene is the one a lot of people hate, which is the one where he takes the photo and he like zooms in. And I was like, my brain when I was a kid was like blown. I was like, how did he do that? So I always like that. I always loved the way he got like really technical into it. It was just so cool. And Moonman says Siskel and Ebert and the Rated K for Kids by Kids Gang taught me how to review media. Oh, interesting. Hmm. And Vega says, what did you think of the sequel for Blade Runner? I personally loved it. Okay, so that is on my list to watch very soon. I'm gonna watch it very soon. I got a copy of that movie from Unicorn Rampant Studio, and so I'm definitely gonna watch it. Um, it's just one of those things where I think I'm gonna love it. So I'm like, I get so nervous about it. So yeah, yeah, it's one I wish I had seen it in the movie theater, but I was busy at the time and I couldn't watch it. But yeah, I'm gonna watch it real soon, and I'll let everybody know what I think of it. Uh, oh, and Joey asked, when was the Indiana watch party? Um, that's gonna be on the 13th, I believe. Let me just make sure I have the right date. Saturday, the July the 13th, and I'm gonna see if right now I Douglas A. Burton was we made plans to see it then, so hopefully we'll see if that all works out. It should, because he said he was going to be there, but and he's fantastic. He's just fantastic. If you guys haven't seen any of the watch parties with him, we did Amadeus and we did War of the Worlds. So yeah, check those out. He's fantastic. Um, and, Joy says, "Oh, thank you. Oh, my pleasure." And says, "I learned from watching other reviewers, and after Dad took me to a film, we would review films after viewing." Oh, that's really cool. Yeah, I think that's how it's going to be passed down from now on. Like if you, the love of movies is going to definitely be passed down from generation to generation. So my mom loved movies, and so she passed that love down to me, which was really great. And Joey says checks calendar, and Vega says nice, but yes, it's a must watch. I unfortunately missed it in theaters too, but luckily I had pretty good TV and a good surround sound speakers to set up at home. Oh, okay. So you're telling me I need to put that get my sound game going when I play this. Okay. Well, I keep forgetting his name. I keep mixing his home. Delavune. Oh God, Delavune. What is his last name? Tell me, somebody. Denis Villeneuve. There we go. I keep smashing his entire name. He's fantastic. He's fantastic. I did love the first tune. Didn't I love the first? I love the first tune. I like the second tune. But yeah, he's as a filmmaker, he just has a certain style about his work, and I think I'm looking forward to. I mean, some of the clips that I've seen from it, it's just insane. So I can't wait to see it. So yeah, I'll get my sound game going on it. Oh my goodness. Okay, so guys, I think we I had so much fun. Really did. Let's adjourn this today, and we will reconvene. Either come back for the watch party or come back for the next episode of this, the next with the homework. Let's see. Oh, one more question. Certain movies really elevate. Uh, certain movies really elevate with a great surround sound experience. Ooh, yes, yes. I find that if I have the right headphones, I could kind of mimic something really nice at home. So we'll do that. So okay, I'm gonna get going, guys. Oh man. Oh, wait a minute. Integrity 101 walked in the room. Hello, Integrity. How are you? And oh, let's see. Joey says, my dad took me to the drive-in to see Jurassic Park when I was very young. He's the reason I love gargoyles. Oh, that is so cool. You got Oh man. Oh man. Man, man, man. You guys are getting me right now. All right, so I'm gonna get going. I'm gonna get going. Have a wonderful night, guys. Let me see if I can get this. I'll do the outro so you guys can leave more messages, and I will be reading them. But have a wonderful night and take care of yourself, and I'll see you real soon. Take care. Mwah!
Retro Nerd Girl, you are clear for takeoff.